Greetings again. This is Dorje and Mario from Marduk's Muse, which is our current title for this video podcast series, voice series. And this week, Mario is going to take the lead. He's again a master astrologer and also a master at human design. I myself am an astrologer and can be found at www.heartastrology.com. Mario, where can people find you if they want to get a reading from you?
On Plutonic Planes YouTube, and I will not be doing any readings until the summer. I'm taking a break right now.
Okay, so if you want a reading this summer, it's better to pay him up front now and kind of like get your spot, because Mario's incredibly popular astrologer, especially when it comes to his human design readings, which are incredibly insightful. And today Mario's going to take the lead as we explore human design, and then also the upcoming eclipse in the second decan of Aries. Mario, so what are your thoughts, Mario?
Thanks, Dorje. This is, and just a reminder, this is our Marduk's Musings podcast. I think you mentioned that, Dorje. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So I'm going to set up. I'm going to front load everything, at least the notes I have, how we're going to go through it. I'm going to start with a background of the global cycles as human design describes it, which is every maybe 300, 400, 500 years, these global cycles. And right now we're moving away from the right angle cross of planning. And in 2027, we're going to move into the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix. So we're moving away from a cross that relates to our tribal survival and our ability to survive together. And this has been evidenced in the last hundreds and hundreds of years, where we move from one place to another to survive. And this new cycle is more so about individuality. It's more about the individual world of us as beings. And so with this background, I want to jump into where the sun and moon are in this coming eclipse tomorrow. And it will be in Aries, 19 degrees, which is the second decan. And to go over a little, the position of sun, moon, Chiron, and Eris is what I'll do. And then I'm going to mention maybe a couple of literary books that have either literal or symbolic representations of eclipses. And yeah, so I'll start. So we are in the global cycle. We are slowly approaching in 2027 the global cycle of the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix, which is composed of two channels, both individual channels in human design. One is the 2034, which is a typical manifesting generator survival channel. And the other one is an individual channel connecting to the solar plexus center, which is turning on as an awareness center. So just as we have the mind as our awareness center, we have other awareness centers. And this is more of a feeling clear awareness. And with this background, this particular eclipse is in 19 degrees Aries. We have sun, moon, Chiron, and Eris there. It's a new moon, solar eclipse. So the sun is being eclipsed. And the meaning of this particular decan, and this I'm interpreting from using the book 36 Faces. And the meaning here is holding to one's reality. This particular decan is under the symbol of the crown. And it's about your being in the world, your vision here in the world. And here sun is exalted. And this is the major theme of the eclipse. Dorje, you wanna expand on that?
It's interesting to me because like one of the qualities of the second decan of Aries is that it is the crown, and and that's the ability to manifest and make the world that you want. But it's also in the constellation of Cetus, the sea monster, And so there's this whole kind of like quality of the underwater Leviathan. And one of the ways I'm thinking about this eclipse is we have this kind of like contrary kind of societal mythology going on right now, where like you can make the world you want, and the hope of AI and the hope of it's basically that like technology can save us, and the hope that we can like work really hard at like creating a world where humans can live. But underneath that is like this huge bubbling volcano of terror that everybody is feeling right now, that like the unconscious like ignorance of mankind is about to envelop all life on earth in either like a nuclear war, because all these wars are going to come are going to get out of control, or ecological disasters. And so I'm hearing this from a lot of people, like including my own children. Like my son came up to me the other day and he's like, Dad, like my generation, he's 18. He's like, my generation doesn't have anything to live for. We know that eco disaster is going to kind of consume us all. And so like I feel like this eclipse is just like this welling of the unconscious energies uh, becoming conscious in people's minds. And I think that's part of what an eclipse is, because you go into the darkness, and from that darkness, then the light reemerges, whatever that unconsciousness is. It's like brought forth so people can experience it, express it, talk about it, and process it, and then find the way forward, which to me connects with what you're saying about the human design. By no means am I a human design expert or professional of any sort. I couldn't even tell you what a channel is. I mean, I know what it is on the map, but I couldn't really tell you what it is. But that idea of like that we're moving from the age of Pisces, which is collective group activity and quality and thinking, into the age of Aquarius, which is the individual, the manifesting of the individual. Is there a specific date that's supposed to happen according to the human design teachings?
Yeah, around January, February of 2027.
Oh, no way, really? That
Yeah.
soon?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, there we are. I
Thank you.
like that.
You hit it. You really underscored and nuanced a lot of themes which are came up in my research of looking at literature and its connection with the eclipse. I mean, what you described, going into the dark and finding the light there, right? I might expand upon that and say, and give a quick example from Kentaro Mura's manga, which was created into a film in 1997, which is Berserk. And there's a scene, well, it's maybe the fifth, sixth final episode of the 6-hour anime, where there's a total eclipse that's fabricated by the godlike beings in the series. So they actually create an eclipse, and its purpose is to create the death of an individual who becomes a godlike being.
Hmm.
But he was a leader. He was like a charismatic leader, like Paul Atreides of Dune, who had all these warriors that fought with him. And in this experience, what happens is all of them are used as like a harvest. They're all sacrificed and killed
Oh,
in this eclipse. Yeah, it's horrific. But it's similar, if you think about it, it's also similar in Dune, where you have a charismatic leader who's supposed to be a Kisach Haderach, like a godlike being, but instead becomes like a lunar being, almost like a moon child, in the sense that he actually just wreaks havoc upon many verses with murder and mayhem and rampage. And thus we have these charismatic leader icon solar beings that become something else, that actually become obscured and become monsters of some sort. And so
mhm.
they don't exit the eclipse with the light of their own inner vision. Rather, they get stuck in that darkness. And this is in both Berserk and in Dune, if you read the literature. I won't go deeper into that. But what's interesting is when you said going into the darkness and seeing the light, and I would expand and nuance that with the light of inner vision, right? Going to create your own vision.
Mhm.
We're looking at Aries Decan number 2. So we're looking at the inner vision, holding to your reality, not the reality that's being imposed upon you. If we look like perhaps your son suggested, in the outer world, we see all these events of chaos, and they're ramping up around this eclipse. Like there was an earthquake the other day. We know there's war things happening in the Middle East and in other areas. Um, there's all this chaos happening, but where is our inner vision? Where's our focus? Are we looking without? Or are we looking within? This eclipse is ours. Each one of us is deciding in our own life what it is we're choosing to eclipse. We must go to the core of our own vision and look and decide and see what it is we are ending, so we can see more clearly what is it we're beginning. And I think this is the lesson in a lot of this literature. There's one last piece of literature I studied for this, to prep for this podcast, and it was The Other Gods by H.P. Lovecraft, which is another example. I'm not coming in clear at all. I'm being obscured by this blurredness.
How's the eclipse in Mercury retrograde? It's right on our camera.
Oh no, I can't move. I have to stay like perfectly still for my
Yes,
image to be still.
still in the
Um,
heart.
yeah. So there's a short story called The Other Self by H.P. Lovecraft. Fascinating story. It's some characters that have this in their mind, that this eclipse has taken them by surprise. Now we live in a world that's almost like a clock. We as astrologers have the capacity and opportunity to know whenever these planetary systems are moving, and almost an exact degree. In this world of this short story, the characters are surprised by a sudden eclipse. So in
Hmm,
this world, eclipses cannot be predicted, or maybe they can, but not all of them. So it's a shock to them. But this particular eclipse is interesting because in human design, both the sun, moon, Chiron, Eris, they're all in the gate of 51. And the gate 51 in human design is all about shock and surprise.
hmm.
And since an eclipse is an eclipsing of something, we are, in a sense, this eclipse is canceled. We are not seeing it. We don't know what's going to be happening during this eclipse, which gives us the individual power to initiate ourselves into our own inner vision.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Dorje, you want to add to that?
No, I absolutely kind of like really appreciate where you brought that and the depth of it. And one of the things you mentioned was like this eclipse um, having qualities or harking back um, to the idea of the king uh, turning, or the king or the queen, the emperor, the empress turning kind of like dark from their solar side to their more dark side, and in doing so sacrificing the children or their troops. And an interesting thing is like the comment uh, the current comet in the sky. Um, what was the what's it's the Pons Brooks comet? Yeah, thank you. Sorry, Pons Brooks comet, which is called the Devil comet by the Chinese
The
who
horn, the
discovered it
horn,
around the
paper sheet.
13th century.
Yeah,
What's that? Yeah,
I think it's called
but it's occurring, that comet, which will become visible during the eclipse. And Ptolemy said, like, when there's an eclipse, watch what the celestial stars are around that eclipse for more information about what's going to be going on, or the effects of that eclipse is going to be. And so then the Pons Pons Brooks comet is going to become visible. It's called the Devil's Comet, but it's next to Mercury. And so what Bonatti said was that if a comet is occurring and it has a nature of Mercury, or is associated with Mercury, then you can expect um, the passing of like the youth. That there could be some kind of situation where a lot of young people die from that, or get hurt. And then also you can expect like the eclipsing, or the death, or the loss of people who are hermits, or people who are wisdom keepers, because all of those are again associated with Mercury. So I'm not wanting that to happen, but it's interesting that you mentioned that. And then, Bonatti speaks to that with the comet and with Mercury being visible during the eclipse, because they're right there in the Aries area. And so, it's a little bit kind of like daunting. And I think you really hit on a key point there, which is in order to like navigate that well, whatever that energy is to go within to your own heart center and your own light, to let go of the shadows that sabotage your own success and your own moving forward with clarity, and then to to start to craft your vision of what comes next out of this. Again, this is the second decan, so it's the prince, it's the crown, it's the ability to manifest the life that you want and that you need in the world. So then to truly ask what that is from the shadow of what has been sacrificed. And to be honest, over the past week, a number of my clients, they're dealing with exactly that. Like something came up into their lives really powerfully and potently that just completely changed who they thought they were and what they thought they wanted in life. And so you're getting dropped into this kind of like abyss, and then from that you have to find the strength of inner vision to say like, well, obviously that was shedded, because like a snake skin or a dragon skin, because the eclipses are the sorrow cycle, it's the cycle of the nodes of the dragon or the serpent. From that shedding of that skin, then what is the new thing coming forth?
Beautifully said. Oh, you said so much. There's so many layers to that. I mean, but we know, I mean, symbolically, that's just what it is. A birth is a death, is a birth is a death, is a death is a...
Right.
And this is happening for humanity. It's happening for our individual selves. And whatever it is, however it manifests, we're creating new vision for ourselves. That's really an important part of this key. Because, wow, I mean, just so much you packed in there. I don't have too much to add. I think we both kind of really refracted the rays of this eclipse into perhaps a way that we can make it our own vision, our own individual visions, pulling it back from the collective and pulling back outward into it, because we're in it, and we do experience the collective, but the individual, the personal, this is what we can control, and this is where we can put our energies, and this is where we can also limit the influence of the outer rays, which will be especially affecting anyone near that line of where it's going to be visible. And
Right.
especially
Yep.
for the many millions of people that are going to choose to go out and perceive and receive those rays upon their own
Yep.
choice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's going to be madness, so to speak.
All right. That's all I got, man. That's all I got. I think we're
Okay.
good there.
Cool, excellent. And we're aiming to put these videos voice messages out every 2 weeks. So come back in 2 weeks, and Mercury will be just about ready to go direct, and the Saturn Mars conjunction will have happened. So there'll be a lot of meaty stuff for us to review. And please come join us back then. And take care, Mario. Good to
Yeah.
see you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care, Dorje. Thanks.